Now this is often what people overlook. It's one of the most critical parts of cleaning a paintbrush. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, go. Today I'm going to show you how to store your brush in between coats, clean your brush so it virtually lasts forever, and then finally I'm going to show you a cool little trick to reboot an absolute mess of a paintbrush. So I just spent the last 2 hours doing the first coat on all my baseboards. Do I want to wash the brush right now? No, I don't. I have another coat to do, so I'm going to show you how to store this in between coats. What I like to use is cling wrap, saran wrap, call it whatever you want. So what you want to do is get a little piece of that off the roll. You want a decent sized piece. Now take the brush, load it up with a bunch of paint, and then just lay it kind of midway. Before you get to the end, fold this part over. This is going to seal the air in here. Now the thing I like about saran wrap as opposed to like a grocery bag or whatever is you can get all the air out of the paint, and that's going to make it last a lot longer. So then just continue rolling that up. And then what I like to do is I take a little elastic and yeah, there you go. You're good to store the brush. If I was doing another coat later on today, I would definitely store it like this. Even up to 1 day, like if you're gonna come back the next day, this will be fine. Now when it comes to cleaning paintbrushes, there's 3 essential tools that I use every single time. Number 1, a stick or a tiny paintbrush. Number 2, a nice kitchen brush with kind of not super soft, but definitely not metal bristles. This will be for scrubbing the brush. And then you're going to need a paint comb. This is something that most people overlook. If you don't have a paint comb, you can use a fork. The paint comb is going to be a lot nicer, but a fork will get the job done. So the first step in cleaning your paintbrush is definitely to clean out your cut can the best you can. And then take as much paint as you can out of the brush on the edge of the can. That'll speed things up considerably. The next thing I do is just throw the brush kind of underneath where the water is going to be hitting, because it just kind of cleans as you go. And for cleaning out the cut can, this little kitchen brush is ideal. And then the next step here is to take some warm water, run it over top of the brush, and then scrub off all the exterior. Now you can see the brush is starting to look great, but this is the step that most people miss. The inside of the brush still has quite a bit of paint on it. So in order to get that out, you need to get one of these paintbrush combs. What that does is it just separates all the bristles out here. So you're going to want to run the comb through like, I don't know, 5 to 10 times while it's under the water. You can massage the bristles a bit with your hand just to make sure it absorbs the water. Test that in a bucket of clear water just to see if there's any paint left in the brush. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to dry the brush off. There's a couple things you can do. You can grab one of these spinners. I don't really like using the spinners for brushes. I'll use this for rollers more so. What happens when you spin this in a brush, it just splays out all of the end of the brush here, and it's not really great for your brush over the long term. So what I will do is I will just flick this thing into the sink. So now the brush is like, I don't know, 70% dry. This is where the little stick comes in. If you leave the brush like this, all of a sudden all of the fibers of the brush are going to bend over. What I like to do is I'll just grab the little stick, I'll come in the sink, and I'll just hang that for a day. Yeah, so whatever you do, once the brush dries out, definitely put it back in the package. So a cool little trick to reboot paintbrushes, the forgotten paintbrush, you wrapped it up. You were going to get back to painting later on that day or the next day, but weeks have gone by. This brush has been wrapped up for about a week and a half now. And yeah, you can see, I mean, it's barely stiff. The paint's coagulated. It's in rough shape. If you get a brush like this, a cool little trick to bring this thing right back to life is to grab some vinegar. This is cleaning vinegar. It's double strength than the kind that you would cook with. So go ahead and put the vinegar into a jar, throw the brush in there, and you can let that soak overnight. So it's the next day now. A lot's changed. I got a haircut. My son had a birthday. We got him a Nintendo Switch for his birthday. Do yourself a favor. If your kid wants a Nintendo Switch, just kick yourself in the shin and save yourself a bunch of money. So yeah, this is soaked overnight. The bristles are starting to soften up quite a bit. Now the next step in the process is just elbow grease. You're gonna have to throw this thing in the sink, so the vinegar made short work of this brush. It didn't take long at all to clean it off. It's back to 100%. Let that dry, pop it in the package, you got a brand new brush. And hey, if you're gonna be painting baseboards or doing any kind of repairs in the future, be sure to check out these two videos right over here. Become a certified Bob Ross instructor. Interesting.